What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be getting into my Missouri Valley Conference Tournament predictions video. This conference just wrapped up yesterday, and this is a very good conference. If you guys don't know, Indiana State's in this conference. There's a lot of good programs. Drake, who last year almost beat Miami in the tournament as a 12 seed. But unfortunately, they lost that one. Miami ended up going all the way to the Final Four. So you never know what would happen with Drake. But this is a good conference, I'm telling you. There's some good teams outside of that. Bradley, Belmont's a good team. Murray State had John Morant back in the day. Northern Iowa's a solid program. Illinois State's a decent program. So, yeah, like I said, Missouri Valley, not in kind of an unnoticed conference here. One of my favorite mid-major conferences. So this is our 9th conference tournament predictions video. Check out the other ones if you want so. But let's get into this predictions here. And that is going to start out. All right, let's start out with the standings first. And that's going to be the number 1 seed, Indiana State, finishing 17-3. You know, a top 25 team at one point. Very good year for that team. I think even if they lose this tournament, they should still be in the conversation as a bubble team. Number 2 is Drake, I believe, at finishing 16-4 in conference play. I believe they're also a bubble team. Got the win last night versus Bradley out on their home turf. Then we have the 3-seeded Bradley finishing 13-7 in conference play. Another good program. Tied with 12-8 for both these teams is Northern Iowa and Belmont. So that's good. I want to see, sorry guys, but number 6, Northern Iowa beats out Belmont. Number 6, we have the Southern Illinois team, 11-9 in conference play right there. The 7 seed is Illinois State, finishing 9-11 in conference play. 8 seed is Murray State, also finishing 9-11. Looks like Illinois State got the tiebreaker. Then you get to Missouri State, finishing 8-12 in conference play. 10-seeded Evansville, finishing 6-14 in conference play. 11-seed UIC, not sure where that is, but that's what their name is. So they finished 4-16 in conference play. And then 12-seed Valparaiso. Not sure if I pronounced that right, but they finished 3-17 in conference play. All right, but let's get into these predictions. I just want to take a look here. I do believe, this is a neutral site bracket. So every game will be in the same place in the Enterprise Center, I believe, in St. Louis. So let's start out with this first matchup, and that's going to be Missouri State versus Murray State. Good matchup. You look at these two teams, it's interesting because Murray State is 12-19 overall, but has a better record than a 16-15 Missouri State team, which I do like to see. Murray State beat this team at home on the 24th of February and also dominated them at Missouri State on the 10th. But I am going to go with Missouri State. I don't think Murray State is going to be able to sweep 3-0. It's just very tough to do that. I think Missouri State's still a decent team. They showed it in non-conference play. Murray State has lost 2 straight. So give me Missouri State in the upset. Kind of tongue twisters here. Murray, Missouri State, very similar names, but we are going to go with Missouri State in the win, the 9 seed. And then Belmont versus Valparaiso. Not too much analysis needs to go into this one. I do have Belmont winning that one. I do think that Belmont team is a good team right there. I think they will get the job done. So give me Belmont in the upset. Or sorry, not the upset, the win. And then moving on, Illinois State versus Evansville. Fun matchup here. Evansville has lost 7 straight games. They've kind of really fallen off here. If we look at these two matchups, on the 18th, Illinois State won by 7. And then Evansville at the 27th of January won by 4. So Even up series, I am going to go with the 7-seeded Illinois State team here. I believe Illinois State beat Indiana State earlier this year, the top team. Yeah, when Indiana State was ranked. So Illinois State's a good, solid team. They have potential. I don't like the Evansville team who's on a 6-game losing streak. That usually doesn't translate well into the tournament. So give me Illinois State. And then finishing it off here, we have Southern Illinois versus UIC. UIC has had a tough year. Southern Illinois has been a decent team, also beating Indiana State. So I am going to go with Southern Illinois to get the job done and move on. All right, so moving on to the next round here. Starting out with Indiana State taking on Missouri State, 1 versus a 9 seed. Indiana State, a solid team here, just barely beat that Missouri State team by 2 on the road, and then beat them, dominated them when they were at their home turf. I am going to go with Indiana State. Missouri State's coming off a very tough battle the previous game against Murray State. I think that one could go neck and neck. It's going to leave them a little bit more fatigued. So I do like Indiana State in the win. Then moving on, we have Northern Iowa versus Belmont, a great matchup. This is one I want to take a look at here. If we look at these two, Northern Iowa beat earlier this year Belmont by 11 points in Belmont. Is that it though? Is that only one game this year between these two? There was only one game, so we've only seen one game between these two this season, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So, interesting game. I actually like Belmont, a program that I really like. Always is a good team in the Missouri Valley. Northern Iowa, don't get me wrong, they've had a good season. I think this one could go either way, but I kind of like Belmont coming off an easy win there. I think that one will be a blowout. Kind of like unlike Missouri State, who I think is going to be fatigued, I think Belmont's going to be more prepared because they get a game like that. So give me Belmont. But again, that game can go either way. And then Drake versus Illinois State, 2 versus a 7 seed. Kind of like this matchup. The Bulldogs of Drake are a great team. They always seem to get the job done at home. These two met in an overtime matchup that was Southern Illinois, my bad. So not that one. In January, Drake dominated Illinois State. They dominated them both times. I do think that's going to happen again here. It just seems like it's a rough matchup with that good of a Drake team for this Illinois State team. I know Illinois State's coming off a game versus Evansville. I don't think they get it done, though. So give me the 2-seeded Bulldogs. Finishing it off, though, we have Bradley versus Southern Illinois. Another good matchup. Keep an eye out for Southern Illinois to maybe pull off the upset. Let's look at these. Bradley earlier this season beat Southern Illinois by just only a point when that game was at Southern Illinois. And then Bradley dominated Southern Illinois on the 28th. I kind of want to go with Southern Illinois, but I don't think I'm going to do it. I do respect this Bradley team just a little bit more than I do Southern Illinois. So I am going to go with Bradley, where they're going to get a matchup with their rivals Drake in the next round. All right. Semifinals time we have on the Saturday, I believe. Indiana State, Belmont. 1 versus a 5 seed in this tournament. Belmont, they're a great team. This is going to be a tough one, though. If we take a look at this season, Indiana State beat Belmont by 30 on the 13th of January. And then on the 31st of January, Indiana State beat Belmont by 6. I do think this is going to be a close game, though. I'm going to be honest. Again, like I said, it's very difficult to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. It's always tough, but I do believe in this Indiana State team. They've had a tremendous year. It's really been the past couple years that they've built up this team to be this good. I think this is their year to prove it. Obviously, we have a critical matchup next round, but I do think they will be able to overcome a good Belmont team to advance on. And then the Drake versus Bradley matchup. Always, I really want to see this one. I think these two always go at it. If you've watched their games, underrated kind of rivalry here. But Drake did beat Bradley by 7 points on the 10th. This is a rematch of last year's championship game. Drake did beat Bradley by 8 when they were at home. Ugh. I'm honestly gonna go with the 3-seeded Bradley. Just a gut feeling to give me Bradley. Drake's beat this team twice in 1 year. Don't get me wrong, it's an amazing Drake team. I think even if they lose this one, they should for sure be in the conversation to be in the tournament. I think it might bring them back a bit because if they don't lose to an Indiana State team, it might be worse for their odds. But I just have a gut feeling that Bradley's going this time around, going to get the job done. They had a tremendous year last year. I think they still have a good team this season. So give me Bradley in the win. And then for the championship, we have a good matchup. Indiana State Bradley. Fun fact, last year this was a semifinal matchup. It was a tremendous game. I remember watching that one. Bradley just barely won that one to move on. If we look at these matchups here, Indiana State beat Bradley by 9 on the 27th of January. Then when that game was being played in at Indiana State, it was an overtime game. The next matchup, is that they only played once this year. Oh no, they did play. Yeah, they did play in December 12th, December 2nd, where Bradley lost by 9 at home. Again, it's tough to beat a team 3 times. I don't think Bradley overcomes the odds, though. This time, I'm going to go with the number 1 seed Indiana State team. This team has been dominant for a reason in this conference. They played great basketball. It's tough to stop them, so I do like Indiana State to win the Missouri Valley. All right, guys, underrated conference. Keep an eye out for this one as we head into the tournament. I think, a lot of teams, if they come out of this, Northern Iowa, Drake, Bradley, Belmont, Indiana State, of course, maybe even Southern Illinois, those teams could, give a team a tough time in the tournament. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching this video today. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the content. Comment down below your predictions. Anyway, guys, peace out.